just want, the one thing I want from my music is to monetize my art. That's the one thing. If I monetize my art, I feel like I'm doing well. But if I can monetize my art and at the same time touch people with my music, because like I said, I'm not an extrovert type of person. So if I can't talk my way to people's hearts, if my art can do that for me, then as I've said, I've made it. I'm understanding it's more than just sitting home and making beats and writing songs and putting them up on SoundCloud. Shout out SoundCloud rappers.
Someone that I admire in various levels, and that's like his work ethic, his loyalty, his spirit, his energy, and it's someone that I've known for about 11 years, but basically been in the same circles for almost 2 decades, and so this is obviously a childhood friend, because I'm 25 years old now, so you can imagine how much time that is. And we basically grew up in the same school from about 6 years old, I would say, to about 18, pre-university age, which was a whole other experience. And we came basically from the same school back in Kenya, in Nairobi, where we're from. And I think another level to this conversation that's interesting, which is that immigrant conversation, that journey of moving from home and basically starting afresh and moving away from what it is we knew. And that's where I think evolution comes in. And now living in Vancouver, this individual is a student of music. He's an artist, a writer, rapper, and singer. But most of all, he is my good friend and someone I consider to be like a brother. And so please help me welcome. I don't even know why I said help me welcome. There's no crowd. But anyway, help me welcome Robert. What up?
How you doing, man?
What's up, man? It's good to be back. Side note, we tried this about a week ago.
Yep.
And things didn't turn out too good because I messed up with how I was saving the recording. But we're back, and I think everything will be fine this time around. But thank you to Robert for making more time for us to try this once again. And hopefully this recording doesn't get distorted.
Yeah, last time was fun, so thanks for having me again.
Yeah, no, it was a blast. And like, we had such a great time just exploring so many things from back in the day, like very practical things that we had done in high school and stuff, like the mixtape that we were listening to.
True.
That we helped make with our friends and stuff like that, and just reminiscing on creativity. And I guess I'll try start this one off basically the same way I did last time, which is like, I know you and I became closer towards like in the 8th grade, not towards the 8th grade, but in the 8th grade.
Yeah.
What do you remember about those times?
Wow, our early day in Saints was good times. Like right before high school, because that's when we met. Because that time you just turned 13, so everything isn't as serious as it is right now. Like life wasn't heavy, so it was just, things were simple, and it was Kenya, sunshine. Like, I don't know, it was good. It was good.
Yeah. I think for me, obviously we always talk about this, and our school was a very special place because so many people basically grew up there.
Yeah.
And we shared so many different experiences, and it molded us in a very unique way, like with all the stuff we did together, in class, outside of class, just as Saints boys. There's something very special about the school we came from, and I think that's a big deal, and something I've noticed people here don't share as much of, because I feel like people here change schools a lot.
Yeah, they don't have the camaraderie aspect.
Yeah.
It's like friends.
It's rare.
Yeah, the friends here today are gone tomorrow type of friends.
Yeah. But anyway, walk me through, again, I asked this last time, but basically walk me through the Robert that I knew versus the Robert in like back home. So the Robert when you left school and the Robert who I knew and who everyone else knew.
The Robert in school was a class clown type of guy, because that was the easiest way for me to make friends. So I'd make a lot of jokes, I'd be extra, I'd be silly, and then take that same guy, me, back home, and it was different. Back home I was more quiet. I still had the fun aspect because I grew up with like 2 sisters in the house, so I still had, like, they wouldn't allow me to just be like rigid.
Yeah.
But we talked about this last time because of I'm African, I'm Kenyan, so I have a African dad, obviously. And African parents, for anyone listening, like in Vancouver and any Western country, an African parent is like a dad in the 60s to like 70s. He wasn't your friend. He wasn't your guy, old buddy, old pal type relationship. He was serious, and you were low-key scared of him.
Yep.
So back home, I was a lot more chill.
Reserved.
Yeah. Reserved, yes.
No, for sure. How do you think that kind of parenting or that experience of an African father figure, how has that affected you personally in like all ways?
Mostly if I bring it back to my artistic side, my creative side, it's made me more I think aware, because when your dad is there, you're watching, you're watching your behavior. It's like, should I do this? If I do this, like, what is he gonna think? So you're always you're
measured.
Exactly. Yeah, you're measured.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I'd do something and I'd be like, what are people gonna think about this?
Yeah.
And that comes from all the way back to the parenting. Yeah.
And I think you also mentioned something interesting last time, which was like relations with females when it comes to being emotional.
Oh man.
Yeah. You wanna just break that down?
Basically, like, almost every relationship I've had, every girl is like, how comes, like, why are you not expressing yourself the way I want you to? And it's like, that's not how I saw things in the house. I didn't see my dad ever being emotional. So for me, it's like, I'd always be, my calmness can sometimes look like you're an asshole. Yeah. Because it just looks like you're aloof. You don't care about like anything the girl is saying, but you're just taking it in instead of exploding on her. Yeah.
And so you brought up an interesting thing, because like having to grow up with that very solid and cut and dry figure in the house, I'm wondering, how did you navigate being creative with a seemingly restrictive force like around you growing up?
Headphones. Headphones.
Yeah.
The whole world doesn't exist when you just put them on. It's whatever you're doing, I don't care about. But for me, I had we're talking about this last time. I had the PlayStation 1, and it was like I can't remember the game. If anyone remembers this game, like, just put it on the comment section. You could basically make beats on that game, and I had the demo version. And just sit there with like the tiny ass 21-inch Sony TV, put the volume up like on the horrible speakers.
The green bars.
The green bars, you put that up, and I just make beats. Like, triangle would be kick, square would be a snare, and the circle would be like a melody. Like, you get the point. And you just, and that's how I got into my more creative side. But funny thing, now that I remember, I used to my mom used to hate me for this. I used to when I was a kid, I'd take crayons, like the crayons they'd buy, and I'd just start like scribbling.
Oh, snap.
Yeah, scribble on the wall. Then someone would have to come clean that up.
Oh, you're one of those kids.
Yeah, I was a retarded one.
That's not a, but I mean, like, I did weird shit as a kid. I told you I used to smoke cigarettes when I was 5.
Oh,
I used to, so like in our neighborhood, there were apartment blocks, right? And so the back sides of the apartment blocks would like face a park where kids used to play and stuff.
Yeah.
But then that's where the balconies of the houses are. So smokers used to throw cigarettes off their balconies and it falls into that park. My earliest memories of being a super loner kid was like, I was like, I wonder what it feels like to smoke a cigarette. And I was like, you know what? This is when you know human beings are like inventive. Because it's like, why did I connect those dots at 5 years old? It's like, I was like, they usually throw cigarettes. I'm going to go and see if there's any I could smoke. Yeah. And my brother caught me.
Oh,
he laughed at my ass. He was like, no, but yeah, being a weird kid is important.
Dude, you could have gone... If you were that same kid right now, you could have gone viral.
Oh, yeah, right?
You could have gone viral.
That shit.
If someone just put on YouTube, like 5-year-old kid smoking. You've gotten your 15 minutes of fame, man.
Man, that's crazy. But so, like, walk us through your journey with music, starting from the PlayStation. Where did you go next from there?
From PlayStation, I moved into Fruity Loops, which every producer, I think, starts on Fruity Loops. Maybe not the newer generation, but every producer started on Fruity Loops. And I got into it from my cousin. My cousin introduced it to me. I didn't take it seriously. It was just like, because I really looked up to my cousin, Charles. Shout out Charles.
Yeah, shout out Charles.
Yeah, and he had Fruity Loops on his computer, and I was like, oh, this is so cool. And I just used to make really bad, like, offbeat beats. And that was the next phase. Yeah. It was Fruity Loops and then Virtual DJ.
And Virtual DJ was probably like high school times, I assume, right? Or was that before high school?
I had it earlier, but I sucked at it until Salim, Jason, and Jack like showed me how to mix.
Yeah, so those are all friends from back in the day from school as well. Shout out to Slim and Jack.
Hey.
Jack is a very he's an enigma to say the least, but he's put me onto a lot of stuff, so he's like someone who formed a big part of our crew. And I think you also said he put you onto a lot of stuff.
A lot. Yeah, Jack's an innovator.
Yeah, for real. So shout out to Jack for sure. He's back in Kenya doing his thing now. I'll fast forward to high school because that was the first time I saw you interact with music. And this was, we call them the first aid days, because that's when a few of us were first aiders in school, and at that point they used to get access to the first aid room in school, which used to be empty most of the time because not everyone's getting hurt all the time. So we used to use it for other things, like introducing the latest tracks to our boys. And that's exactly where I think like we all realize, hey, there's something going on here. So just take us through that. Was it a breakthrough moment for you when you were like, okay, I'm going to start sharing my music with you guys? Or what was that process where you decided, oh, let me let everyone else hear?
I'm not even sure. It was just... It's one of those things like when you're in a quiet room and you're just like, okay, this room needs music.
Yeah. Just a vibe. That's it.
Yeah, and at that time I was practicing a lot, so it's like...
Might as well just do it on loudspeaker.
Yeah, let me just put and see like what the guys think. And luckily, like you guys gave me the push. Like
it was an incubator, man. Like us guys used to, whatever it is you wanted to do, just like say it, and everyone's gonna support that shit, man.
Yeah. So like, I just play. I was playing it mostly just to add a vibe into the room, and also to see how good I was at DJing. Yeah.
What? Why did you move from? Because you started off kind of like, I guess you said making sounds or beats or whatever, and then you started practicing DJing. What made you switch to DJing? Because I feel like those are different things.
It was EDM music.
Okay.
Yeah, because I was big into Swedish House Mafia.
Okay. Shout out to them.
And I was like, yo, I need to be on this private jet, Ferrari black and white lifestyle that these guys are on.
Yeah.
And I got into DJ. I couldn't get the tables. I couldn't get the tables, so I was like, best thing. Yeah, best
technology,
thing.
Man.
Yeah, you go online, you get yourself a virtual DJ. Maybe I paid for it. maybe I didn't pay for it.
Hey. It's neither here nor there.
Exactly. But I thought it was the easiest way for me to get into the EDM culture. Sorry.
Yeah. And that was the first time I even heard of that program. And just to give you guys a picture of how I think, at least this is how I see it. I might be biased because these are my friends, but I feel like you guys were always ahead of the curve with a lot of music stuff. And virtual DJ, for example, I don't think I'd heard of it up until the point you started to use it. And it's like now around the world there's this movement against computer DJs.
Yeah.
And it's like basically what you are doing in the first aid room and guys are being paid hundreds of thousands to do now.
I swear.
It's insane. So like what do you think about that? Like what did you even think like, whoa, this is gonna be actually something, or it's just, this costs less money or doesn't cost anything? So I'll just
at first for me it was just, when you find something you're good at and you're like, okay, I can do this.
Yeah.
And if that's what it was for me. I was just good at it.
Yeah.
And I just continued doing it. For some reason it fed my soul. And I just went with it. And I wish I was being paid. I wish I was being paid for it.
It's okay, the money will come.
The money will come,
man.
Yeah.
No, but that's cool though. And another thing that happened during those times was the very first few times you actually performed as a DJ.
Swarley.
Yeah, as
Swarley Tuesdays.
Tell the listeners what Swarley is. Tell them how that began, what it is, where it came from.
Swarley, if anyone... if you're not a How I Met Your Mother fan, you're lying. Once in your life, you found that show funny, so don't be a liar. Yeah, so basically you're watching How I Met Your Mother, and there's this episode where Barney was, I don't know what he kept saying Swarley. I can't remember why he was saying it, but I liked the name. I just added an A instead of I just added an A onto
Some
it.
African sauce for you.
Exactly. Added an A onto it, and I told guys this is gonna be my nickname, and guys are gonna it's a cool nickname. People are gonna start calling me this, and of course, guys are like,
"What the fuck?
Who is this guy?
Who are you?
Who is this guy?
He thinks he's Prince or some shit.
What is this Swarley? Nah, it's not gonna work out."
Yeah,
but somehow, because I think it was mostly because of the older guys, the guys
that didn't know you. I guess. Yeah,
the guys, the streamer ahead of us. Started calling me Swarley, and at the same time I was DJing, so I just used it as my moniker. Yeah.
And that was an interesting time, which was another I feel like another display of how creative I think us guys were as young guys. In that, to put together a show for you, we all had a hand in all the creative stuff we did, whether it was a mixtape for Slim or you performing. We all contributed in one way or another to help each other do something or express themselves, and I think that was the coolest thing that ever existed amongst us.
Yeah, because without any of without all the guys in the crew, our old crew, I don't think I'd have ever gotten the gig, because I'm not like a extrovert type of guy.
I mean, you can't be everything for yourself as an artist, right? Sometimes you need help with different things here and there not even just as an artist, as a person. You're not strong in every single sector. You might need someone to help you here and there.
Yeah.
But so what inspires you? What gives you the energy to do music? Why do you find music important for you? What is...
inspiration-wise, movies. For some reason, I like stories. Yeah, so if we were talking about this last time. If I have a theory in my head for a song, for example, I want to write a love song, the only way I can truly, when it feels concrete to me, even before I start writing, is if I see an image of it. And the easiest way, instead of getting my heart broken constantly, is to is to watch movies.
Yeah.
You watch a bunch of movies, you're like, oh yeah, that's exactly what I wanted to explain.
Yeah.
So I get a lot of inspiration from movies. And I forgot the other questions.
No, but I was just trying to figure out. You told me what inspires you.
Yeah.
But why music? Why is music the form? Because, like you said, as a kid, you would draw on the walls and shit, and then you moved to like making beats and DJing and all. But like, why did you transition into music making music as your way of expressing stuff? Because like you would get inspiration from movies, you could just make a movie, but you make music instead. Why?
It just stuck with me. Like, music was like, I did the drawing. I did the drawing on the wall. I drew anime, or I traced.
Be clear.
I traced anime from my computer. So yeah, obviously I can't draw. But and then I moved into music, and it's just something that I stuck with. And we were talking about this last time. It's therapeutic, and also it's something I know I can do. It's like regardless of like, I'm not popular, I'm not famous, but I can do this.
Yeah.
Like, I know that I know I'm good at it.
Yeah.
And you'll be seeing my name soon. Billboard Top 100. Yeah. Just wait for me. I'll be right there. Yeah.
No, that's dope. So in speaking about, I think you scratch that. So high school ends, and we're all gearing up to go. All of us are gearing up to go whatever ways we're deciding after high school, whether it's going to the UK, the US, or Canada, or whatever. And everyone is like breaking apart into their own thing, and so everyone's basically starting afresh. Walk us through your decision to move to Vancouver. Like, what was that transition from high school to uni now for you?
This all goes, shout out to my mom. Mom, I love you. This all because you guys went, like, I think immediately you finished school,
like 4 months after.
4 months after college. You guys went straight to university. I was just biting my time because I didn't know. I knew I wanted to do music, but I didn't have the.
Trust me, we had no clue what we were doing either. We just left as soon as we could because we just didn't feel like being home.
So like for me, I didn't have the courage to be like, I want to do music. But my dad and my mom saw me for like a full year and a half, every day just sitting down with my tiny ass Acer laptop with my earbuds on, just making beats. It's what I would do constantly. And I don't know, one day late at night my mom was like, yo, what are you gonna do? And I was like, oh man, that dreaded question. It's like, oh man. And after tiptoeing and stammering on some words, she was like, you're always making this music thing, why don't you go do it?
Wow.
Yeah.
That's unique. Like, how has your mom always been that way with you? Like,
I think so, because I'm like the last born.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know. I have the most love. Sorry to the rest of you.
I mean, I'm a last born too. I get it.
Exactly. I have the most love to my other brother and sisters. That's just how it goes.
I think it's like, it's also the fact that like your parents have had practice, and so like you came around at a time when they knew what they were doing.
Nah, let's go with that. Let's go with that. I have the most love. I'm loved the most. Let's not break that thing, man. But yeah.
Excuse me for psychoanalyzing.
Don't break it. Don't break my bubble. I'm the most loved. Let's keep it that way. But yeah, it was my mom encouraging me.
So like, and then that's another thing I remember. Like, you being one of the few people who actually quote unquote chased his dreams, and I think that's where and I'm glad we're here, because I think that's where the reason behind this podcast comes in, where it's like we all, at least the way I felt about high school and that ending period, was like it felt like we all influenced each other along the lines of what was cool to do in uni or not to do. And obviously with how we grew up in school and stuff, there were certain things that were prioritized as this is what you should study. And a lot of us went down the conventional path of like studying business, like myself initially, and I think almost everyone went into something business related, which is another side of that African dad figure. He's also a businessman.
Exactly.
So like, how then did you navigate being in a school and a friend group of people that are thinking that way, but then decide, but I want to do music?
I was bad at school. At school, and like I said, music is the one thing I was clearly good at. Then I went with it, because I remember when we were in high school, I think year 10 or year 9, we were told to choose.
So we had music class, right?
We had music class.
I actually used to know how to read music at some point.
Dude.
Yeah, that was crazy.
I wanted to learn music.
Yeah.
But our school, it was between music, chemistry, and business.
Oh, wow.
Those were the choices that you had to go with.
Yeah.
And I chose music.
Yeah.
And I remember the weird teacher. What's his name?
Mr. Semu?
No, the dean. The weird dude who used to like pinch people and the thighs.
What's his name? Oh gosh. It's like Mr. Moura.
This dude used to pinch almost fully grown men.
Oh my god.
In the thighs.
In the freaking thighs. And this is like, oh man. And he used to smell like vodka in school.
And pinch you in the thighs.
He used to creep up in class when people are making noise and sneak up on.
That's like a whole other 2-hour Dr. Phil episode that we need to have. Yeah. Like, honestly. But yeah, I remember he came into the class one day and he was like, "Where's this Roberts? You chose," like in front of the whole class. I remember it so clearly. Like, no one chose music, so you have to pick chemistry or
because
business.
They can't teach you alone.
They can't teach exactly.
Damn.
Yeah, so I was like, okay, I'll do business.
And you see that right there's another example of just like how that happens. It's like, guarantee most of the people that chose business didn't even want to be doing business.
Yeah.
But it's like now the guy who actually made the decision to actually follow his instincts ended up losing because everyone else wanted to follow the status quo.
And now I can't read music.
Fuck, dude, that's actually pretty fucked up. So, like, with that in mind, how have you... Because I feel like you've always made unconventional decisions, which is another reason I felt like it would be interesting to talk to you for this podcast. And what is that thing in you that always makes you choose the other option? Or do you see it that way? Is that something that you've practiced, or is that just something that's always been you? Or
I read there was this one point where my dad spoiled my laptop. I know it was you. Everyone knows it was you. And
it's deep.
He ruined my laptop, and I had to wait for about, I think it was maybe 6 months or 8 months until I got my new one. So I wasn't making beats, and I wasn't DJing, and at that time I wasn't as heavy into it. In my mind, I was like, if I study really hard, I can get good enough marks to like go to a university and study maybe finance, because my dad's a banker.
Man, that shit is so pervasive.
Yeah. So in those 8 months, I ended up reading Tuesdays with Maury, which is an amazing book. But if you're not the type, if you're not like the follow your dreams type, don't read that book, because it'll give you that type of energy.
For the dreamers.
Yeah. So it gave me after I read that book, I was like, I should try and live my life without the way I think it should go. Instead of...
How old were you?
17, 16,
So- okay.
17.
Because that's another thing, which is like I remember you were heavy into books at some point. Like the whole 48 Laws was. Did you read it around
48
that time?
Laws, yeah.
Yeah. So I remember. I think you were one of the first people to introduce me to that book, and I was like, "Oh shit, this is like deep. Like, what is all this?" Like you are into like Art of War too. I think. Oh, no, Seduction.
Yeah,
was
Art
the
of
one.
Seduction, yeah.
Yeah, I remember you and Jack introduced me to that one, and like.
Why are you blowing up my spot? Why are you blowing up my spot,
It's
bro?
a popular book. It's a popular book. It's like a bestseller.
Don't bust the bubble. Let me just
All
use...
you women out there, it was a lie. He read the book. It's all a lie. Never call him back.
Why are you blowing up my spot, bro? But yeah, I read Art of Seduction.
Yeah.
And
So like
48
you are,
Laws.
that's another thing that I admire about you is that like you're heavy into like very serious books. At least what I consider to be very very serious at that age.
Mhm.
And you are into reading like extensively. And first of all, what got you into reading like that? Because like we used to read like literature books, fun regular school books, but not the Art of War and stuff like that.
When I was a kid,
Mm-hmm.
Catholic kid, used to go to church a lot on Sundays,
Okay.
and my dad used to, I think almost every Sunday, or like maybe 2 Sundays in a month, he'd take me to like a bookstore and he just gave me a book.
Oh, okay.
So I'd read that, but like it wasn't anything deep. It was like
Yeah.
why the ostrich has a long neck.
Yeah.
And then, it's a story about a crocodile and an ostrich. Yeah, those type of books.
Yeah.
But like the older I got, I wanted to just read more.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, 48 Laws of Power.
Mhm.
Awesome. Manipulation.
Manipulation.
Art of Seduction.
Yeah.
Awesome. Manipulation. So I tried to understand that whole another world that was like so far away from me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that wasn't as naive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like I'm jumping around a bit, but like we were talking about you making the decision to come to study music in Vancouver. Why did you choose Vancouver?
Because most of you guys were here. Because I
Okay.
still had like, you guys are in my heart.
I wanted you to say it, but I didn't want to have to like pull it out of you. I'm just saying.
You guys are in my heart.
you couldn't let us just go. Eh?
Yeah, so like you guys have heard, like we were close.
Yeah, super close.
Yeah, we were all close, and I was like, if I'm gonna go study somewhere, why not study in a place where I have my friends there? And so I found someone who was an instructor who was good with Ableton Live, which is the program I use for making beats.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it just connected. It was like, the instructor's in Vancouver, my friends are in Vancouver.
Mm-hmm.
Let's make it happen.
Yeah, and so you land in Vancouver. What's that first month like for you?
It was cold. Oh man, it was
Yep.
cold. What the heck?
What
And
month did you come in?
I came in December.
Oh, shit.
Dude, I came right before Christmas. I think.
Yikes!
Yeah.
That's terrible. I came in April, so that's
Yeah, so like things were
big
looking
difference.
like
it
beautiful.
was, summer
and
was
stuff.
just about to hit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I came in December. Dude, the airport guys were
Yeah.
just the worst.
It took ages to leave the airport, right?
I just like 4 hours, maybe even more.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yep.
like, just looking at me like,
Yep.
do you have a bunch of credit cards with you? Like it was like the questions were super.
Yeah, no, that's hey guys, anyone who's listening out there who may not be an immigrant,
Yeah.
like if you've probably never had that experience of really feeling like you're not from somewhere, like if you've never left your home,
Nah.
the moment you land in Canada as an immigrant, you're like, it's made very clear this is not your country.
Not-
so like
You should be happy to be here.
yeah, exactly. It's like you are blessed to have crossed that. So it's an interesting. So what did you think about that experience as a first experience here? Like, what did that do to you? Or did you just kind of brush it off?
Yeah, I brushed it off.
Mm-hmm.
Because like I've decided to chase my dreams. So like a side of me is like super naive.
Yeah,
and I don't.
Like whatever.
Yeah, it's like I was just like, okay, whatever, racist guy, allegedly racist guy,
microaggressions.
Yeah, passive aggressive homie, whatever, fine. I just let it pass, and that month was actually really good because I was living with like a family, and it was like a proper family. They had two kids, and it still felt like home.
Okay.
Yeah, because it was still a family.
Yeah,
and then I had in the back of, so the first month was just, it wasn't culture shock apart from the weather. Yeah.
So did you jump straight into school, or did you have some time?
Yeah, like I think a week or 2 weeks after I was in school.
Oh, okay. So like, what was that first experience in school here?
Oh
being
man,
in a school setting abroad for the first time.
Oh man, I was so hyped because they just had all the instruments that you would ever need to make music. Like they had the tip-top equipments. Yeah. So my mind was all about the music. So that's every day I just go to school.
Yeah. That's like you weren't thinking about social life. Like you weren't.
No.
Okay, that's interesting because for me that was a big thing. I know I was looking for was like, what's the social life? And I guess maybe I didn't know exactly what I wanted, but I just knew I wanted a different social experience. But then I came, and that's the worst thing you would want when you're coming to Vancouver, because that's like non-existent here. The social scene here is kind of off, at least especially in school. It's weird, especially like in small colleges like where I started. There's no real culture there. It's just lots of people in and out of a building. And so for someone who's like, oh, I want a different social experience, you get kind of disappointed.
Oh man, because it
didn't live up to the hype.
It didn't live up to the
basically,
hype.
Yeah. And I think that was a big mistake I made with my decision to go abroad, and I think a lot of people make that same mistake, or that same, it might be just a result of having too many expectations, but people from back home tend to think when you move out of the country and go to like a Western country, your life automatically becomes amazing.
No.
Yeah, I had to like come to realization like, no, it's just real life away from home.
Yeah.
For you, it seems that you're very focused on music, which is interesting, and that's pretty good because you had a goal. And I think that's where I realized I messed up. I didn't have a very solid vision or a goal. It took me some time, but you had it. So is that pretty much what you've been on throughout? Like, how was there any variation in your experience, or?
It was what I was on until 2 years ago, because I started thinking that maybe I need a balance.
Okay.
You need a balance instead of just being about this one thing. You need to go outside, see more stuff, be more social. Yeah. So it's just recently I started changing that.
Yeah. That's it's a tough one because like for me it went the other way. It was like I came wanting to be social, and then I was like, nah, fuck that. I was like, I'm good. I was like, the house is just fine. Just fine. But yeah, so what do you think about now that you're kind of coming out of that like bubble, or maybe like slowly expanding how your experience is here? What is that experience like for you so far? Like you said, you're trying to embrace more reaching out of what, like your focus in music. So what's that? Are you noticing new things about living here? Is there anything that stands out in that experience?
Yeah, I found out thrift stores are awesome. Shout out to what's the dude who made that thrift song?
Macklemore.
Shout out to Macklemore.
Yeah, this jacket is from
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So I just for me it was a way to see if I can be more creative outside of myself, because I focused on creativity within, which is what you should do, honestly. But at the same time, you should try and grab from different things. So I've just, even like as I try to be social, it's more of it's still in a creative way.
Yeah.
It's like, let's go to this art museum, see what's happening there.
Yep.
Let's go to this weird bookstore. Let's go to that thrift store over there, etc. etc.
So basically, this is how you seduce the women that you are reading about. That's basically what you're telling us.
This is law number 50. This, like, just get a bunch of stuff going, and yeah.
Let me take you to an art gallery.
I can show you where you can get the best jackets ever.
I see you. Hipster Vancouver girls must love you.
Man.
And speaking about art and expression, is there... Okay, I think I asked you this last time, and I think I remember your answer, but I want to ask it again. Is there something you're trying to do with your music? Is there a message? Aside from that therapeutic side of it for yourself, what is the external thing?
Bro, that question hit me. Like, when you asked me last time, I went home and I was like, damn. Yo, it's like, damn, son.
Why am I doing this?
Damn, son. Like, I truly thought about it.
Yeah.
And it came to, apart from the therapeutic side, like you said, it came up to, the one thing I want for my music is to monetize my art. That's the one thing. If I monetize my art, I feel like I'm doing well. But if I can monetize my art and at the same time touch people with my music, because like I said, I'm not an extrovert type of person. So if I can't talk my way to people's hearts, if my art can do that for me, then I'll have said I've made it. I'm understanding it's more than just sitting home and making beats and writing songs and putting them up on SoundCloud. Shout out SoundCloud rappers. Yeah, so I'm just trying to, first of all, getting onto your podcast. Thank you again.
Yeah, for sure.
And just meeting other creative people.
Nice.
Photographers, graphic designers, people working in the fashion industry. Just get me some threads. Please, give me some threads.
Yeah, no, that's, I think that's super important, and that's something that I am also kind of slowly, I mean, this podcast is the same thing for me as it is for you, which is like, I do have my own podcast, which I'll talk about at another time. Actually, you know what? Never mind. I'll shout it out. My podcast, my other podcast is Dear Vancouver Podcast. It's on SoundCloud as well.
Yeah.
If you're interested, go check out what my weird mind does when you let it just roam free. And so Dear Vancouver Podcast. But like I was saying, for me, doing these podcasts, and excuse me, I forgot to say, like, I'm sick. I'm still recovering from a cold, so excuse me if I sound like shit. But this podcast and my own podcast are my way of taking that first little, like, step outside this is me dipping my toes into the pool of, like, expressing myself. Because I don't, like I told you, for me, I pretty much followed the expected path for the most part, and it reached a point where I'm like, I can't keep doing that. And I've always had that sense in me for a while where it's like, this is cool, but I just don't feel comfortable at all. I'm able to sustain the status quo and do stuff like I'm expected to, but it's like, I don't feel like I'm being myself. I've always had this creativity or creative side in me that I haven't really explored, and this, like you said, for me, this is just that first step outside. And so, in saying that, what about Vancouver has helped you, hurt you in discovering your creative side, or like flexing those muscles of creativity?
Vancouver is there's a lot of things to do. Like, I know people think, like, they think there's not a lot of stuff to do, but since stepping out of the house, I feel like there's a lot of stuff to do, and that's helped me, be more creative.
Do you think you've changed from the person you were in 2012?
2012, yeah.
To now?
Yeah, it's like constant constant change. Shout out to Joe. I used to have this. Peace out, Joe. I still have this friend called Joe, and I remember talking to him. Maybe 2010, 2011. I think towards the end of the year, and we were having this talk about change and evolving, and I was trying to figure out where to go with myself.
Okay.
And it's like I feel like I've been doing this like every single year. It's just that right now I'm starting to notice.
You're being more intentional. Yeah, facts.
But
facts.
I've been constantly changing. And to give an example, it's like I started off DJing, then I was making EDM beats, and then went into doing remix competitions, which I won a few.
Oh yeah, snap! I remember those.
Which I won a few.
Yeah. Facts.
I have a few trophies.
Yeah.
So and then I got here. I did like one more remix competition, and I felt like I was done with EDM. Not because of anything deep, like this music is this and that. I just felt like it was time to try something else. So there's an example of how I constantly change. Yeah.
So I can definitely like co-sign that, because it's the same for me. I think with age, like, you start being more intentional with your move. But I feel like the kinds of talks we used to have, like in high school,
we were always on this.
Yeah, it's like there's something about our group of friends that, like, for some reason we had this meme in our circle which was all about elevation, progress, like betterment, evolution, moving forward, just that whole idea of pushing for something more. And we would sit in class and just not be listening, because it's like, what is this?
We're trying to transcend. We're trying to transcend. Guys, and the teacher was not with the ascension.
Not with the movement.
He was not with the ascension.
And I think it's so important to, like, foster that with however you can. And I think me trying to reconnect with that side of myself, because I can't rely on you guys to always be there to give me that.
True, yeah.
So it's like I had to figure out a way for myself to reach that place where, okay, no, I'm feeling it myself, like I can do this myself, which is where I guess the podcast, which I do myself, comes in. It's like, no, this is something I really believe in, this idea of moving forward. But yeah, I mean, I don't know what I was going to ask you next. Let's see. Oh yeah, I can ask you a question about your music.
Hey.
Does your life play into your music? Where do you create from? Is it like you said, you want to speak to people, so are you telling them your own story, or?
Yeah, I went through a phase where I was like, real recognize real. I went through that whole phase of like, you have to tell them your story.
The truth.
Everything has to be true, which is, I agree with it to a point, but at the same time, it's something like a music figure is a caricature. That's not them.
Yep.
So I'm starting to learn to separate that.
Yep.
My artistic side is more of a caricature. It's an exaggeration. Yeah. So if I shoot someone on a song,
you're spraying niggas.
If I duck someone on a song, but okay, I don't talk about that type of stuff. But it's just as an example.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
that makes sense. As a fan of music, I can acknowledge that thing where, like, you reach a point when you realize, like, what? 50 Cent doesn't kill people 2 seconds every 2 seconds of the day. You know, it doesn't always have to be his short 9 times story. It can be, he can be talking from the perspective of someone else, and it's fine. Like, it's all about that story. And what has been your most impactful song for yourself? Like, what is that one song that you made? Or have you made that song yet that really...
I usually feel To be honest, I just like new things.
Okay.
So every time,
Every new song.
every new song, I'm like, yo,
Yes,
this is
this is the one.
it. This has changed my soul.
Yeah.
This is everything.
Yeah.
And then you get through. For anyone who cares, you get through the mixing and the mastering, and you've listened to it so many times while you're in that process that you're like, okay, yeah, whatever. And then you want to move on to the next thing, the new thing. But I do speak. Most of the stuff I speak about is true, but there's also an exaggeration aspect to it.
Yeah. For me, I would think if I was a singer or a rapper or something, I would continue doing it if something was telling me I'm getting better. So what is that thing that's telling you you're getting better, or do you feel like you're getting better? What keeps you going and improving with your music, so to speak?
Because I spit hard fire. Nah, but I have we were talking about this before we got on the air. Which I have a friend who's also my mixing partner and co-producer at times, called Eddie. Shout out Eddie, and he helps me. He's the one who actually made me start thinking of myself as an artist. Because when I came here, even after getting out of the EDM side, I just wanted to produce.
Okay.
But for some reason, he was like, you should do this. It wasn't, I didn't just one day wake up and go, yeah, I'm going to start writing and going to the studio and recording. It was something that was asked of me. It was like, you could do it.
Yeah.
And he's made me believe in myself more, and he's given me that push.
Yeah.
So he's the one who makes me think that I'm getting better. And I'm starting to think I spit hard fire.
Yeah.
I'm starting to think that.
Yeah, for sure. No, shout out to your boy Eddie. I think it's important to always have that thing that lets you know you're improving. Have you? I don't know what extent you've explored like the music scene here, but what do you think about the music scene in Vancouver? Is there one? Because I personally don't really know.
I still haven't found the hip hop scene, to be honest. I've seen a few. There's a few like rappers. I've seen more female rappers doing their thing.
Yeah.
Over here.
Yeah. True.
Yeah. Then I've seen a few other hip hop guys, but I consider them to be more on the R&B side of things.
Okay.
So I don't know.
Like the singy, rappy.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't know about like a proper hip hop part of Vancouver. If someone can help me with that, like.
I have not seen. I don't think I've really felt like any type of scene anywhere, really, to be honest. I might have gone for like one fashion show that was semi-underground and it felt like something.
Yeah.
But I wasn't too sure, so, but yeah.
I've seen like a weird, like glitchy electronic type of scene. I do not know where to. I don't know. Like it's just. It's in some place in East Hastings, and it's what's that place? I think it's called Redgate. And guys I think they have art exhibitions there. But the night that I went, they had various DJs, and they were all playing this really industrial. That's the word I'm looking for. Industrial sounding electronic music. Yeah, and that's it looked like it was a scene.
Yeah,
like it had that dirty punks
that
type
grimy
vibe. Yeah, it was gritty.
Yeah,
it was gritty.
I just thought about something. So we talked about how you did EDM for a good chunk of time, and that you're also one of the first people to introduce me to EDM.
Rest in peace, Soirlee.
Rest in peace, Soirlee, who introduced me to EDM back in the day. And you were doing EDM for a good chunk of time, and then you made the switch to hip-hop from EDM, or how did that go? Genre-wise, like what has been your journey genre-wise?
When I was trying to make the switch, it's Daft Punk's fault mostly, because Daft Punk, Kanye. Everyone remembers Get Lucky.
Oh, okay.
Get Lucky and that whole album. I can't remember what that album is called, but so I listened to that album, and I was like, okay, yeah, I can't make EDM music like that.
Okay.
And that's the type. If I was making it, that's
you
the type.
You want to be at that level.
Yeah, and I was like, I can't make EDM music like that. So it's time to move on and find your thing, your sound.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then moved on to that.
What made you make? Because that's an interesting decision. Because you're like, you recognized a level that you couldn't get. Do you think you stopped yourself, or like you were being real with yourself?
Yeah, it was just. I think I was being honest with myself. Maybe if I stuck it out, but I knew what I was making, because my sound was very electro house, like it was stadium vibe. Big room house is what guys call it. I don't know if that still exists.
Explain, break it down.
Big room house is basically Avicii type stuff, Swedish House Mafia type of music. Zed, it's like the main stage. The guys who go on the main stage and just rock the crowd straight for an hour. No slow like music, nothing. Everything's in your face and everyone's fist pumping to the highest.
Molly for days,
jaw broken, everything. So that's the big room. I was trying to make that type of sound. But I was into new disco, which is like slower, and a bit of like deep house, which is slower. It's more of a vibe. Okay. Yeah, and once I heard Daft Punk do their thing, it had a funky aspect to it that I was like, okay, I can't do that. I don't have the guitar skills to do that type of thing right now. Okay. So, but I can't just stop. Yeah, so I have to find a new thing to do.
Are you learning any instruments right now? Or?
Oh yeah, I play a little bit of the piano. Nice. Someone don't test me on this. But I can. Yes, I can play chords, and I can make a song.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
And I spit hot fire.
Do you have plans to like expand your your knowledge of instruments and stuff like that?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. It's I stopped once I got enough music knowledge to be able to make a song in almost any key. I slowed down, I'm not gonna lie, but I would like to learn some more. Yeah. Nice. And I probably will. I have to learn how to read music, honestly. Yeah.
Now, reading music was I can't imagine, I can't believe I used to know how to read music, because right now it's like gibberish for me. Fast forward to today, 2018, we have not Robert, we have Lucid, which is your artist side. Break it down. What is Lucid? Who is Lucid?
Lucid is just like this sensitive guy, man, that all of you need to get to know. Now, I came up with Lucid because, obviously, like I said, rest in peace, Soale. I was moving on from the EDM side, and I needed a new name. And I thought of some other really bad names that I'm not going to mention right now, and eventually got to Lucid, which... Oh man, this is like a stretch, but we're going to explain this. So basically, my name Robert is a German name. Shout out to the colonizers.
Shout out.
So I have the Robert in German means bright and fame. Okay. And then as I was thinking up of names, I came with Lucid, which meant lucid means clarity most of the time. But if there's also another meaning of lucid, which is bright, a light, star. Okay. And I was like, oh, okay. So me calling myself Lucid it's like, I still felt like I was calling myself Robert. Okay. When I chose the name Lucid.
Okay. So you connect to that side of your name, basically.
Yeah, and I was like, yeah, I can go with Lucid because it still feels like I'm calling myself Robert. Yeah.
So you really like Robert is an essence for you. It's not just a name.
I was, you know how like rappers now, like, yo, I decided to start rapping by my real name.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't feel like calling myself Robert. Yeah, I don't feel like going with Robert Muthama or just Robert. So I was like, Lucid. Yeah. I like the whole aspect of clarity and me trying to... Because when you're making music, your emotions are felt. Like, it's clear. So I like that aspect of it. But at the same time, it's like lucid means bright, light, and fame.
So has your family like interacted with Lucid? Because have they even interacted with Swale or any other version of your... What do they know of this side of you?
Oh yeah, I made my... when I won one competition. Yeah. I remember like somewhere in 2011 maybe, and those guys were like super serious, and they sent like contracts.
Oh wow!
They sent contracts over in case the thing was bought. I don't know if it was bought because music industry is ass. So I don't know what happened. Shifty. But I remember I made my dad like listen to the song, and he was just trying to understand. You could tell, but he was being supportive. But he was like,
"You were rapping on the song."
No. This was Swirly time. Yeah, and I made him look at like the contract and everything, so they know of my music. They know of the EDM side, but I haven't interacted with Lucid.
Okay, are they curious, or they don't ask like what you've been doing this whole time?
Because like I said, when I finished school, I was always making music, so they know. It's like I think it's something they know. Like, he's just.
They don't need updates on like your latest track. You should send your dad some super hot flames.
I should send him some super hot fire. Like honestly,
burn up his phone.
Yeah, I might. Dude, that's actually a good idea. I might send him the new stuff. Oh yeah, but he's seen a video of me playing piano and like singing.
Dope. I think you should send him "Spoonful of Cinnamon" too. That was a good happy song.
Oh, Spoonful.
Yeah, I like that jam. If anyone in SoundCloud land out there, anyone out there on SoundCloud, check out Lucid's song called "Spoonful of Cinnamon."
Yeah, you can find me. It's at Oak Tree.
Yeah, no, go check out his SoundCloud. He has a few songs on there. More to come, right?
More to come, because I spit hot fire. No, but honestly, more to come.
Yeah, no, that "Spoonful of Cinnamon" I think is a good like summertime.
Man, nice.
It's like one of those springy, sun is out kind of bubbly songs. So that's a good. I feel like that's a nice intro.
I love that. Yeah, because I feel like everyone likes like lights went off more, and I'm like, but Spoonful has a vibe.
It has a vibe. It has like an energy to it. Yeah, for sure. How do you come up with a song?
I go off because producer by heart, so I go off the song itself. Like if, for example, I'm starting to do collaborations now, and if someone sends me a track that's very trappy. Then we'll go that route.
Okay.
Yeah, but when I'm making the music, it's just, it all depends on the beat or like the piano, the melody, and then from there I'll go with the song.
Yeah.
Instead of forcing it. Yeah.
Interesting. Do you have any other things you want to plug? Anything you want to promote? Let the people know. If you want to just tell them your SoundCloud again.
If you guys want to listen to my music, which is on SoundCloud, you can go to SoundCloud at Oak Tree. Instagram, you can follow me if you want. It's at Lucid LU_6D. That's LU_6D.
You made it extra complicated for you millennials out there.
Yeah, because you have to put a number in there, so it's like, wait, what? Lucid?
Different.
Lucid? No, it's Lucid. Oh, okay, I like where this is going. Yeah,
for sure. No, that's dope. It's been a pleasure, like doing this with you again.
Hey, it was fun. It was fun. Yeah.
No, I look forward to like your growth as an artist and just like seeing where you take all of this.
Thank you.
You have my full support, and
thank you.
Like like I said, I'm also in a weird space of like, okay, I'm trying to be who I really am. It's like it's a weird, uncomfortable like process, but I think it's something that's super necessary, and it's good to like have met at this, to like reconnect at this point
when we're both trying to push our projects out there.
Exactly. It's like it's different than if I was still stuck on finding a particular social experience in Vancouver or whatever. I think this was like good timing for us. And success with everything. Look forward to more music from Lucid.
Yes.
Look forward to more guests such as these. Not necessarily all of them will be my friends, but I think this was just a nice opportunity to kick off and explore someone's personal journey in however they've chosen to take that journey. And hopefully you've taken a few things here and there from Robert's story, or shall I say Lucid. There's all of us are going through whatever we're going through, and however we're going through it. I think the key is everyone has their own style of doing it, and you're one person, I believe, that is walking their own journey, and I really admire that, and I think that's something you should never change, and it's something that I've seen you carry like ever since we started getting close in 8th grade. And that's like, I say, this is about getting emotional. It's weird.
It's all good. Let's start pouring it out. Yeah.
We talked about how like Jack influenced all of us and stuff with his ideologies and stuff.
Yeah.
But I think you also have been someone who is very influential and very ahead with how he thinks and how you do things. And I've always just watched you and just like watched how you live life and how you decide to do stuff, and I think it's very admirable. You might not have all the money yet, but like I think just the way you move and the decisions you make and how calculated you are and how much like drive you have to do stuff is definitely to be commended. And that's one of the, those are a few of the reasons I respect you. And,
no one can see us, but I'm mad blushing.
And the room is mad hot too, so it's getting a bit, it's getting crazy. No, for real though. I know like we're friends and everything, and it's easy for us to like just chat about old stuff and whatever, but I seriously believe that whether I'm your friend or not, and keep going down the unconventional path, because you give people like myself the permission to do the same. And like all the best, man. Yeah.
Dude, thanks for that, man. Thanks for that.
Yeah.
And guys, please check out Nyex on the Dear Vancouver podcast that he does, and check out his writing. It's really good.
Yeah, thanks.
Dude's published, but he's not mentioning it.
You've done all my plugs for me, so my work here is done. Anyone out there who's listening, thank you for joining us.
Hey.
I hope you've enjoyed our conversation. Look forward to more. And whatever it is you're doing, whoever it is you're doing it with, may you have a good day, night, evening, afternoon, whatever it is. And peace out.
Bye, guys.